Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a Roll Tide inside the comment box? I appreciate you guys for being here. Today is Monday. It is April 7th. I am live coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Had an amazing weekend, and I hope you did too. We're going to talk about the scrimmage that Alabama just held. And now Alabama only has a couple more practices before we get to the 8-day practice this coming Saturday. We're going to go over the men's NCAA basketball tournament, talk about some Alabama prospects that have also committed to the Crimson Tide from the transfer portal, and talk about who's hot, most importantly, and provide you another quarterback update going into the final week. Got Pearl checked in this morning. Pearl's looking good. She's feeling good. Peach is around here somewhere. So, we're rolling on this beautiful Monday. How's everybody doing today? Give me so to start out the show, how was your weekend on a scale of 1 to 10? I got to tell you, mine was probably close to a 10. Got some golf in on Saturday, which is great. And then on Sunday, yesterday, which is rare for me, I just chilled. I chilled. I read. I poured into myself. I hit the spiritual level. I got the grocery store taken care of. Even watched a movie, which is rare for me because if you know anything about me, I am go, go, go. Like Saturday, woke up in the morning, worked out. Then I came, cut a podcast. Then I came, play golf. Then I came, yard work. So it was a beautiful weekend. A lot of gratitude for it. But with this Alabama scrimmage that the Crimson Tide held on, this last one on Friday, there were some big takeaways, honestly. I think when you look collectively at where Alabama is right now, they're at a good point. The only thing that that is kind of on my mind a little bit other than, some of the top performers at this point in time is they're a little bit banged up. There's some guys that are out right now, and as Coach Kalen DeBoer kind of alluded to, they couldn't even really hold like a full practice or 8-day game because of how many injuries. For example, even Ryan Williams is out with what Coach Kalen DeBoer said nicks. Danny Lewis is out. Marshall Pritchett, well, Danny Lewis had already been out, but you lose a couple tight ends as well. I do wonder about this. Okay, are we getting to the point where spring football is kind of, not necessarily irrelevant, but where the bigger kind of franchise type players won't practice anymore just because there's too much of a risk to do it, right? Like kind of sitting out that point in time because as Coach Kalen DeBoer said, he's like, we already know what we got from Ryan Williams. So rather it's kind of a point where like the younger players get in and get some work in, but like the older, more veteran players or your top end players, they don't practice anymore because it's just, they're worth that much. I don't know. So people are like, Jeff inside the comment box, like Ryan Williams doesn't need to practice. Maybe they don't need to practice anymore, right? And maybe that, like, if you follow the NFL, the guys only practice like once, twice a week. Not to and there's practice on the field and there's practice like in the film room. Like these guys aren't missing that. You see what I'm saying? All right, let me give some good morning shout outs. I appreciate you guys joining for the start of the show. Let's see who's checked in this morning. Let's do a little bit of Roll Tide roll call. How about that? Crimson Tide football, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Herman, good morning to you. Always checking in. Crimson Angel, what's up? Herman, Chris from New Jersey, love to see it. Caitlin DeBoss, what's going on, man? Jeff, good morning. Max Tooney, always checking in. Javion, what's up, bro? D Bama Swag. Alyssa Mitchell, what's up? Appreciate you. Rocket Town. Patriot Life, what's up? I see Civic B18, what's up? Good to see you. Gordon, what's up, man? Roll Tide to you. Roy, I see you. Darren McMillan, what's up, man? And Jason, inside with the Roll Tide. All right. Before we start talking about the scrimmage and a couple takeaways, and I'm sure you guys already saw the nuggets, and we'll dive a little bit more into that. Let's go to a live look at Toomer's Corner. This is a live look right now. You guys want to go full screen? All right, thumbs up if you want to go full screen on this. All right, this is Toomer's Corner right here. That was, I guess, last night, the night before, following Auburn's loss to Florida. No toilet paper was injured following Auburn's loss to Florida. in the Final Four. I'll never understand why they do this. Like, I get it. It's like there's college football traditions and all that stuff, but like like the toilet paper, like rolling your own university. Oh my goodness. Like it's so ridiculous to me. I've never understood it. I think it's like I think it's so funny. I'm not just saying that because I cover Alabama football. I just think it's dumb in general. I don't know. Something I'll just never understand. All right. Other news, right, is we'll get to Duke here in just a second. Warming up the show. Let everybody get checked in. Hey, Michael Brown, what's up, man? Appreciate you following. Hey, look. The Waffle House. That's what they used to call him back in high school. Julio Jones, because he was always open, right? Retires. I have to ask you this. You had 2,600 yards at Alabama, only 15 touchdowns. That was interesting. But 13,000 yards and 66 touchdowns playing, most of his career with the Falcons. Is he like when you look back on all these wide receivers, right, from Alabama, is he the best? Or is he just simply like the OG? Like, is he, because now you have some incredible wide receivers within the last, 5 seasons that have come out of here. Devontae Smith, is up there, but is Julio Jones the best? Type Y if you think that Julio Jones is the best wide receiver ever at Alabama. Type Y inside the comment box. If you don't, type no, and, we could debate it at another point in time, but it kind of like got my mind. I was like, damn, like Julio is that guy. He was like kind of the first tone setter. The OG of that wide receiver room, right? Kind of set the bar. Love the fact that he's from LA, played at Foley, came up here and absolutely do damage, right? Max Tooney's like only 15 touchdowns because John Parker Wilson was his quarterback. All right, so kind of getting some mixed reviews. No, yes. I don't know. I think like overall, I was reading this morning on Julio. He ran a 4.3 40 time. The dude was like an absolute monster. And Seth, I agree with you inside the comment box, bro. See, Seth is like Devontae Smith is the GOAT. I think, and you also have Amari Cooper too. Yeah, I know it's really hard to say who's number 1, 2, or even 3. But I'm going with the Slim Reaper. It's hard for me to do, but I think I gotta go Devontae Smith number 1. I don't know. I mean, there's no wrong answer. See Larry Large inside the comment box. A lot of people are going to be pulling for Amari Cooper too, right? Jason's like, Smith was unguardable. I mean, the things that Devontae Smith did back here at Alabama was just crazy. The Senor inside the comment box, like physically, absolutely. Yeah, he's the biggest wide receiver. Probably the biggest and most dominant wide receiver out of the collection of Alabama wide receivers that were elite, right? He had it all. I mean, size, speed. I mean, the Slim Reaper, Coach Saban had to come to bat for him and was like, look, even though he's 160 pounds, the football weighs X amount, so it doesn't matter. But Julio was like, what is he, 6'3", 220? Anyways, Julio Jones retires. One hell of a career, definitely a Hall of Famer in the NFL. All right, Houston takes down Duke 70-67. Who watched this game? I watched this game. I was just posted up. I was chilling. I had the recliner out. I was watching the game. I was curious to see what would happen in this game. All right, Alabama played each of these teams during the season. So Duke basically gets out to this large lead. They were up by like 9, I think 12. They controlled it. They were doing what Duke does, right? Cooper Flagg was going absolutely crazy. It seemed like Houston could never chip away at that lead. And then Duke never scored again. They never scored. They went on a nearly 8-minute scoring drought in the second half. And I look, Houston's defense was elite as well. I even saw this thing by SportsCenter the next day on Instagram that said, I'm still thinking about this stat. It said Houston's basketball team averaged a mile of like 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So the whole team ran miles, right? And that's their average. Like the slowest guy was like 5 minutes and 40 seconds. I was like, what? Was it max? Was it 10 minutes without a field goal? I thought it was like 8 because they passed it down to Flag on the outside and he hit a 3, and I think that ended the drive. Whatever it was, that was crazy. 13-1 run. Wow. So you have Houston taking on Florida for the championship. Let me ask you inside the comment box, if you filled out a bracket, did you have Florida in the championship? Raise your hand if you did. Thumbs up. Type Y inside the comment box if you had Florida making the championship. I did. After Florida beat Alabama in the SEC basketball tournament, I mean, there's been so many basketball games. I felt that Florida team was just like maybe, I don't know, unbeatable. But then when Duke beat Alabama, I felt that Duke was going to win the championship. So who knows? I mean, Houston coach was like, nobody's been talking about us. See, but a lot of whys inside the like people aren't surprised to see Florida here because Florida was like, is that team? Yeah, like Rocketown inside the comment box had Florida and Duke, with Duke winning. Florida, absolutely rolling. See, Larry Large just knocking it out the park today. He had both them winning. Both with Florida winning. Okay, so as you see here at the bottom, Florida, is like a almost 2-point favorite in this game. Michael Roden also had a good bracket. A lot of people had, you know what? And I'm not taking it away from you if you had a good bracket. Just a lot of people had good brackets. There wasn't a lot of upsets this year in the tournament. Scott, had Florida in there as well. Hunter Savage. Yeah, I'll show my bracket. I'll show my bracket tomorrow because you got the games taking place tonight, so we'll recap the bracket. I was going to go and do some final edits to my bracket. I think I had Bama in there, but then I forgot to make the edits. I had a decent bracket. Like I said, I didn't pick too many upsets. That's why it was good. Chris, what's up, man? Appreciate it. Everybody loves Houston's coach, 100%. I mean, the guy, I've seen him be a little bit snarky after Alabama's beat Houston, this and that, but the guy can absolutely coach, 1,000,000%. Let me ask you before we move forward. Tonight, who you got? Type F for Florida. Type H for Houston. Who wins the NCAA basketball tournament tonight? Florida or Houston? Type F for Florida. Type H for Houston. A lot of people pulling for Houston. It looks like it's probably going to be like 50-50. Actually, more Floridas. Oh, a lot of Florida. Oh, everybody's rolling Florida. At first, there was like 2 people that voted. I guess those are the stats that I went off of. But now, I mean, it's 70% Florida. Everyone from Eddie Wesley, Jason Walden, Hunter Savage, D. Bamaswag. I guess everybody's pulling for the SEC. Or just straight up that Florida's a better team. I mean, Max, you're 1,000,000% right, bro. That type of defense that we saw from Duke to beat Alabama is the same type of defense that we saw Houston beat Duke. More basketball news. The Crimson Tide, been red hot in the transfer portal. Coach Nate Oates landed another prospect this weekend in Jalil Bethia. He's on your left. 6'5" guard. Started 16 games for the Hurricanes last season. You wanted bigger guards? You got a bigger guard. 6'5". Really like his game. He's good friends with Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams, probably part of that recruiting force, bringing in Bethea to the Crimson Tide. A couple days before that, you had Taylor Bowen commit to the Crimson Tide. Hey, Snowman, what's up? I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Every show is handcrafted from right here. Right here. Taylor Bowen committed too a couple days before that. He's 6'10". You know, I have to say, I was a little bit upset, a little bit hurt inside got in my feels with my boy Mo Diabate leaving. Did that hurt your feelings too? If you follow basketball, you follow this team, guy off the bench, yes or no? Mo Diabate bouncing out, yo, that hurt. 100%. It hurt me. I liked him. He had a hell of a first round and second round. He had 28 points. Marcus, what's up, man? We're catching up on a couple basketball commitments right now that have joined the Crimson Tide for 2025, 2026. I love Mo Diabate. Look, Taylor Bowen, he's not a huge scorer, but he's got some really good defense. And then before that, you had Noah Williamson commit from Bucknell. 7 foot, 250 points. Now, he averaged 17 points a game. So, look, Bethea, Williamson, Bowen coming in. See, Jason, I'm with you, bro. He was my fit. And you know what? I'm kind of glad that I didn't buy a hoodie. And that's the problem with buying some of the player gear. You buy like something from Athlete's Thread, which, by the way, has dope gear for like the players, but you don't know how long the players are going to be here. Like, I almost bought a Mo Diabate hoodie. I don't know where he's going to go, but Max Tooney says the rumor is Mo apparently wanted more money. Mo money. Mo Diabate. Mo money, mo problems. Byron, what's up, man? Good to see you, bro. Hope you had a good weekend. So, 3 in, I would imagine maybe they take another transfer portal guy or two. But the good news is when you look to Alabama and its roster and these graphics courtesy of Yay Alabama, the official collective, they put out some news and they have some cool graphics, whatever. Interviews and autographs following 8A practice this Saturday. But over the weekend, these are all the players that, these players were expected to come back, but they have announcements. So Aiden Sherrill, 6'10", Houston Mallett, Latrell Wrightsell. Man, Wrightsell could pop off this coming season. And then Holloway. You have Holloway, you have Bethea, right? Your backcourt. Holloway's a monster. And I would imagine it seems kind of like reading the tea leaves that Phylon is going to declare for the NBA. Daniel Adams is like, hey, if Nate doesn't do it this year, think he stays? Yeah, I do. I feel that, and like I said, we talk about this frequently. I don't have any insight on this. But the only way that Nate probably ever leaves Alabama is for the NBA. Again, I have zero idea if he's even interested in coaching the NBA. I just think somebody with that much competitive spirit, and the thing is, his trajectory is like still so far up, right? He hasn't like leveled out. He's not going the opposite way. You got to, in life, right? You have to strike when the iron's hot. You have to take your chances when they come. Now, with that said, oh, by the way, I have I'm starting another YouTube channel. It's a men's daily devotional. So check it out. I'll put the link in the description box. Yesterday I was talking about good opportunities and bad opportunities, right? And that they both exist in this world. And you have to stay away from those bad opportunities, right? And how you do that, you stay within your routine, just like Nate Oates is doing. He's staying within his routine. He's recruiting at a very high level. And not just because like some opportunity comes up, whether it's Texas, whether it's Kentucky, those could be bad opportunities because he already has something great here. And in my opinion, going to some of these other programs at this point in time is kind of more lateral. Like the whole Maryland deal, that's a lateral move. Now, the NBA is a whole different level, right? Ronnie, what's up, man? I appreciate you. Thanks for being here, bro. Joe Crooms, what's up, man? Joe Crooms like Sherelle. Eddie says, right cell, Holloway, Bethea will be a really good backcourt. 1,000,000%, bro. Love it. So transfers in, a couple guys announcing that they're coming back. Still waiting on like an official announcement from Phylon. But it kind of all signs look to him bouncing out. And you're right, Rocket Town. And I'll post a link to my new channel. Let me see if I can do it real quick in here while you guys are all on. It's just gonna, men's health, and I think just more positivity is something that I've always been curious, and I'm still building myself up in that area. So it's kind of going to be like a journey and going over some high points in terms of mental health, prayer, as I continue to work on my spirituality. That's one of the areas that I really need to tighten up on in my life, and there's no better time than doing that than right now. So follow along if you want. It'll be, there's no pressure. It's just I'm into that stuff. I'm into mentorship, and I feel like if I want to lead my kids in a more spiritual route, that's on me. That's a leadership position, right? I'm in charge of that. So, it's just, and I love, this is a space that I'm comfortable at, right? Joshua, so now let's talk about who's hot and kind of go over some scrimmage detail from past Saturday. So good starting point right here. Joshua Haney's asking, is Jalen Hill practicing? Well, he's been practicing all season. Now, you didn't hear anything about him from this past scrimmage, which doesn't indicate that he's not participating or whatever, but I think he's getting closer to, 100%, whatever that means. Guy suffered a very significant injury last year. I still think it's incredible that he's even here at this point in time playing at this high level. He's been having a brace on. He's probably like no contact type guy. And I would imagine that he's making a little bit more strides because we continue to see a little bit more volume from him from the videos and the photos that the University of Alabama sends. A healthy and 100% Jalen Hill is going to be another fantastic wide receiver, just a loaded arsenal of weapons no matter how you want to slice it. But I'll tell you what, who's hot right now, is Lazier Brooks. Oh, my goodness. Isn't it amazing that even as stacked as this wide receiver room is, and you have guys that we really haven't even talked about enough, like Bubba Hampton, who's out right now, Cole Adams, Rico Scott, like these are ballers. Jalen Mbakwe, like one of the fastest players on the team. A new guy comes in from New Jersey, and he's just balling out of control right now. Like, this isn't hype. Go around, look at all your recruiting sites, whether it's Bama 247, Bama Online, Touchdown Alabama, Tide Illustrated, Crimson cover with Mick and Clint. Those guys are killing it. Or your Locked On Bama guys. Everybody's talking about Lazier Brooks. Everybody. Oh, J.D. Piquel. He does a good job. I like J.D. All those guys. I always like to see all those guys shine. But Lazier Brooks, it's going to be hard to keep him off the field. Courtney Morgan said this before spring football even started. He said, look, when Lazier Brooks has the football in his hand, he just does different things. Alabama football shared a microsecond of a clip of Lazier Brooks hitting the spin on somebody. He's hot. And with Ryan Williams now out because of Coach Kalen DeBoer said, like, Knicks, people were like, well, what the hell is Knicks? It's like, to me, Knicks, what is Knicks to you? And like Knicks, seriously, what does Knicks mean to you? To me, Knicks means like kind of like bumps and bruises, right? And you can like nick yourself shaving. So like cuts, bumps, bruises. He said, we already know what we're getting from Ryan Williams. If Ryan Williams isn't 99% healthy, then, that's fine. We're talking about practice. But I think we're getting to the phase of college football where your franchise type players won't participate in spring football anymore. Like big time guys because of a risk of injury, plus they're getting paid too much. They can't be paying. Think about this. Alabama starting July 1st, same with all the programs in the country, will be allotted, $20 million to start paying their players. You think they're going to risk those players getting injured during the spring football period? You want an ACL on a player that you're paying $3-4 million a season? No. That's going to be the continued end of spring ball. Or I think more of spring ball will just be about developing the players that just got here. JTL hitting with the nail polish comment. Ryan Williams does have a huge NIL deal it's a nail polish. I think it's like a beauty supply company. Dude, imagine how much he's getting from that. He marketed that perfectly. Joshua inside the comment box mentions Simpson is hot right now. Russell is right behind him as well. Mack had some really good plays as well. I think if Mack gets third, he may need to stay develop under DeBoer and Grubb one more year. Larry Large is like, I agree, Kyle. Coach DeBoer is holding out several players this spring. I think so too. Yeah, Sally's Beauty Supply. Yeah. Is that Sally's? No. It's Sally's, right? That's what I thought it was. Yeah, that's a major NIL deal. But I think that's what's happening is basically Byron, we'll dive into that. I watched some highlights and they said Bethea. You just pull up YouTube and you watch like professional announcers. They were saying Jalil Bethea. That's what I'm saying right now at this point in time regarding the new transfer from Miami. But Lazier Brooks, 1,000,000% high. And then I think Isaiah Horton has been able to display what we are hoping. We were hoping that Isaiah Horton would come here and be an absolute dog within that wide receiver room, be like an instant starter, or at least be, playing at this point in time. The thing about it, as we learn more and more about Isaiah Horton, I'm sure there's a lot of people that already knew about this, but Ty Simpson and Isaiah Horton have a little bit of history from playing together at 7-on-7, both being from the state of Tennessee. And Isaiah Horton openly said this on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. He said, look, one of the reasons that I came to Alabama was simply because of Ty Simpson. He's like, that's my guy. And he believes in Ty Simpson. They have a really good chemistry. They mentioned that word chemistry. And throughout this spring season, these small amount of windows, how many times have you heard Isaiah Horton and Ty Simpson linking up? Big plays, touchdowns. They had another really good, a couple connections in this last scrimmage as well. So Ty Simpson, Isaiah Horton, you're starting to see that chemistry. And Lazier Brooks, He's absolutely been eaten 100%. Zay Cho, what's up, man? See you inside the comment box. Hope you had a good weekend, bro. All right, look, don't get mad. This is how I'm feeling right now. At this point in time, people I talked to, people who saw the scrimmage, there was a lot of people that did see this past scrimmage, right? Okay, so this is how I have the quarterbacks at this point in time. I have it Ty Simpson, I have it Keelan Russell, and then I have Austin Mack as number 3. I moved Keelan Russell over Austin Mack at this point in time for Monday, April 7th. Okay, that's where we're at. Phil Ty Simpson, just like Greg McElroy and just like other people have reported, he really has a strong hold on this quarterback starting position. Not surprised by it. Happy to hear it. We continue to hear really positive things about how he is taking command of this room. He had another very positive day during this scrimmage. Now, Coach Kalen DeBoer has to be careful about how he words different types of things, and the quarterback situation isn't determined. There's been nobody that has just been instantly the starter. You have a transfer portal coming up here from April 15th to the 25th. You don't want one of these guys to bounce out in the portal, so you got to play it long term going into the season. There was a lot of people that saw Keelan Russell make some really good plays at this last scrimmage, and you have to take into account that he's mostly going against the twos. He is getting some opportunities with the ones, but he's right now working with the twos. Next practice is tomorrow, Stanley. One source told me the things that he's able to do, he just has like they worded it this like a different gift. Like he's got it. Ryan Grubb talked about his wide field vision. He's just able to make plays that your typical quarterback isn't able to make. So I think Keelan Russell made a little bit of ground from this second scrimmage. And then I'm sure you saw the reports. I heard this as well, that Austin Mack struggled a little bit in this last scrimmage. I'm not concerned about it. I don't think that means like he's a bad quarterback or he's not going to still fight for the job. I think he's still in it, but I think he struggled a little bit in this last scrimmage. So take that as you will. Herman says if he wins the lottery between now and Saturday, he'll definitely be at the A-Day practice facilities. I think they need to name it. I think they need to call it A-Day practice. That probably won't be good for like their whole marketing, getting people there. But that's what it is. It's an hour practice. And then if you're a member, Kimberly, what's up? If you're a member of Yay Alabama, then you get autographs following the game. So you do you, whatever makes sense. But it is free to watch. You don't get, think about that. You don't get a lot of times to see Alabama football play at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Hopefully the weather is amazing. And it's just like a practice. That's kind of, I've seen that Alabama could take another quarterback out of the transfer portal. Do you think that Alabama gets a quarterback from the transfer portal right now inside the comment box? Yes or no? I don't know. I'd probably say no. Like if I really had to answer yes or no. Again, the question is, do you think Alabama takes a transfer from the transfer portal? Zay's asked me, why did I stop going to the press conference? Well, I've applied for credentials many different times in the University of Alabama. They will not let me back at the press conference. I have no idea why. I've asked for, interviews with Coach Kalen DeBoer. So, that's how I have to work. I've asked for every single reason why, and they will not get back to me. Nobody will. So I just basically am now just like doing the best that I can to support my kids, myself. But yeah, I've asked a million different times to like go back, and nobody will answer me. Nobody. And that's the truth. So, if there was one particular reason that they told me, then I would definitely take accountability and be like, okay, I am definitely sorry for that. I can do better. I've covered the team for 9 years, but I have sometimes I think it's just because I'm with YouTube and I'm not with other people, but then my mind goes somewhere else and I'm like, is it this or is it that? Was it something I did? Something in the past that happened? I have no idea. And I think that's one of the problems with even being I've basically been ghosted. So I have no idea. I don't know if it's because of this, that, the other, and that's just the truth. So I just roll my show, talk about things as they come, but that's where we're at. But yeah, in terms of, 100%. Yeah. So, yeah, but anyways, that's where we're at on the quarterback position. On the defensive side, I think, same thing. Here are some guys who are certainly high, and I think a lot of guys are in the secondary, right? Deshaun Jones is a guy that I think is certainly, doing a really good job from that Husky position. And I think maybe a player that is battling with Cam Calhoun at this point in time. I think that those two players are very talented, and I think they add a lot of depth. That's one thing that you have with the Alabama secondary right now at this point in time is a lot of incredible depth, right? You have, and that's something that we didn't have during the 2024 season at this point in time. You see what I'm saying? So you had the Husky position, Deshaun Jones, Cam Calhoun, Red Morgan. You're good with any of those guys, to be honest, right? The wide receiver position, or the defensive back position, Damani Jackson, Xavier Brown, Dejon Lee. Dejon Lee, I probably rank him number 1 over Lazier Brooks, and then I'd probably go Keelan Russell if I was ranking the freshmen that were here at the University of Alabama. You see what I'm saying? That's how impactful that Dejon Lee has been this spring. Like, balling out. He had another interception at this last scrimmage. He was knocking down balls. He was making tackles. He is playing like absolutely elite level football right now for a freshman. And on the right, Bray Hubbard. I think Bray Hubbard scooped up a fumble or something like that, but Bray Hubbard's everywhere. He's an opportunistic player. Yeah, for sure, man. Alabama Renegade in there with a mustard. Turn the TV off. Yeah, so look, when I think about the defense at this point in time, the area that I'm really focusing in on is the secondary. And I know, I'm excited about different areas, but the secondary was the biggest area of concern at this point in time last year. And now it's probably the least amount of concern. And that's credit to Kalen DeBoer, Courtney Morgan, Mo Lindquist, and now Jason Jones, all working that secondary. Zay Mincy, great point out, Josh. What's up? So Zay Chill thinking about Red Morgan hitting the portal. I don't know. I would imagine that guys hit the portal. I mean, I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, if you look at the depth chart and you can start to wonder about different players within the depth chart, we don't know. And there's a lot of rooms, like the running back room, stacked, right? We talked about the freshmen before. We've talked about the transfers and the transfers that have come in. Yeah, 100%. Ronnie Jones. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I've reached out to the sports information directors twice. I've reached out to their attorneys. I've reached out to coaches. Nothing. Nothing. So and that's what might make it a little bit difficult for me to continue to do this like full time, which I swear I am like trying my hardest to do this at a full time level. But, with all the other, the rise of all these other YouTube channels and the massive, sites out there, it is what it is. But, but it's cool. You guys could tell my story. It's all good, man. Like, it's just, but the thing is, man, the one thing that's kind of concludes this segment. I'm going to talk about a couple of different things. The other thing is, the one thing that I can say about myself, which is really dope, is like, I'm standing on my own 2 feet. Like, I built this channel. There's been a lot of different people that have worked for this channel and a lot of great people that are out there that have their own channels, big or small, and they're all grinding. I've seen it. But to be able to just, stand on your own feet from YouTube, I think, says a lot. I'm definitely grinding. I've never been afraid of work. Clearly I've been in this space for a long time. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm starting up another channel. It is called, it's basically a men's devotional. And it'll be a daily deal. It's something that's really important to me as I, move through this next part of my life. So if you guys want to hit it up for some daily devotionals, power, prayer, as I work on my own spirituality and we go through different things in life, I think it's important to tighten up not only your mental, but your spiritual component as we continue to rock through this beautiful thing called life. I appreciate you guys for always rocking with me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. You have practice on Tuesday, and you have practice on Thursday, and then you have A-Day practice on Saturday. So, get all in, support the players on Instagram, Athletes Thread, Yay Alabama, all those spots to cover your team. And look, there's a million different people that cover the Alabama Crimson Tide. Definitely, support those other great content creators. Small channels all the way large channels. Those I promise. I've pretty much every single one of them has worked here at Bama Football on YouTube, and I've seen the heart and the hustle from each of those guys. Love them all. So we move forward. We talk about Alabama football. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. And thanks for being here on this beautiful Monday, April 7th. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama.